Good morning. Welcome. I'm Dave Cavanis, President of Carpenter Realtors. I hope you already know that. Wanted to hope that you and your family are safe this morning. Safety is our number one priority, especially in these challenging times. Point I want to make this morning is for all of us that we are at Carpenter Realtors, we are open for business. Yesterday, I was heartened to learn that we had sold $7 million worth of real estate here in central Indiana. Penn did that yesterday. Closings are happening within our company and across the industry. And we are operating, I learned also yesterday in a conference call at Carpenter Realtors, we're operating when other companies across central Indiana have literally shut down or are unable to operate in this environment. Now, one of the things I want to talk to you a little bit about is the governor's order that he put in place Monday that actually took effect last night. We are taking this situation very seriously. But it's important to understand that the governor has declared that real estate brokerage, our industry, is what he called an essential service to the state's economy. That means that you, in the conducting of your business to and from the office, to and from closings, showings, listings, all the activities that you normally undertake, you are allowed to travel throughout the city as long as you continue to practice the social distancing and the sanitizing of surfaces that you touch. Just as important, if you're working with buyers, is they are allowed to move about the marketplace in the conduct of that business as well. If they're going to a showing, they are allowed to go, even if they are under order for quarantine in the nature of their business. So that's important that you understand it and that you can communicate that to prospective buyers. Obviously, sellers are still in a position to engage with us and list. Obviously, practicing social distancing. If I was in a listing presentation this morning or this afternoon, I'd be at one end of the table and I'd have the other parties at the other end of the table, and I would bring a bottle of Purell or wet wipes or something just to illustrate to them how seriously I was taking this. And to facilitate your ability to move around, we have created what's called a letter of access. And we have pushed that out across our platforms. It's also available in Carpenter Links under a COVID-19 tab now. And you want to print a copy of that and have that in the car with you. If for some reason you were stopped and maybe a traffic issue or something like that, and the officer said, "No, you're not supposed to be out," you can share the letter with them, and it explains to them and cites the governor's order, different, literally paragraph and section of the order to clarify for those parties as well. And we don't know how serious over time they're going to begin to stop people who are traveling and verify that they have a letter of access. So that letter is from me. It cites it's in a proper format, and it cites the different paragraphs and sections of the order. Very important piece. Get a copy of that. Make sure it's with you. Keep it in your purse, keep it in your wallet, keep it in your car. The current order that we're all operating under from the governor ends at midnight on April 6th. I do believe that the governor is going to extend that going forward for at least 1 week. I would suspect the governor would be extending that beyond the week. In addition to that, our company has developed a preparedness plan, and this is pushed out to our senior management team, and this document is designed to guide us in case we discover in one of our branches or one of our agents or employees has come down and been a confirmed case, or somebody's been near a confirmed case. Now, there are people out there, hey, I think I've got it. Be careful with that. we have to deal with confirmed cases of COVID-19. If we have confirmed cases or even suspected cases, we have a plan in place at our company to take specific steps for that department or that branch to make sure that everyone else who's been potentially exposed is notified and everyone is safe in accessing our buildings, departments, and facilities around Central Indiana. So, and that's been communicated out to our management team. And so, if you have any questions about that, just ask a regional manager. They're fully informed about that. Another question I've had is, what can I be doing during this challenging time? You know, my family's at home, kids are at home, and you see yourself spending much more time at home, and that's probably good. I would encourage you to stay as quarantined as you can, and still be making progress in your business. The first thing is the timing is almost perfect, not quite perfect, is the introduction of our property-based CRM. And I was talking to Nancy yesterday. We had 127 people on board with that program already through the introduction and the activation. All their data moved over from Boston Logic. And she is accelerating that, and she will get. She's thinking she can get 60 of us up and going every week. Going forward, we were doing 25 to 30, and she's just miracle somehow doubling that. So if you're not already in the queue to be introduced and then activated in the new property-based CRM, which is so simple, most of us are going to be able to. I mean, I was able to operate that with little or no training or previous training. So you got to get on that. So just reach out to Nancy Wilson at callcarpenter.com and say, hey, I want to get on the list. I want to get into this faster than I had planned to. What a great time over the next few days to get activated. So that's number one. I would get rolling on that. And while you're waiting for that, get into your data, your own database. Get into your, whether it's a Rolodex or a spreadsheet or whatever. Get it ready to activate with property base. So let's start working on that. If it was me, I'd reach out and get on the phone and call certainly the top 25 people. You want to know how they're doing anyway. And a lot of people are kind of going stir crazy. So let's get some conversations going out there. And in the conversation, let them know we're still in business. Real estate, they don't know this, but real estate is an essential service declared by the governor. And if they have questions, if they want to know what my home's worth, what's happening in the marketplace, they should be curious. Reach out, start a conversation. Hit that top 25. And then you get relaxed and start calling your sphere. Just call everybody. Call 5 people, take a break, have a cup of coffee. I've got my coffee going right here. Have a sip of coffee, and then call another 5 or 10, and just keep going. I have asked Tom Myers. Tom has taken initiative with his branch managers down in Region 1, and they've been building this kind of master list of what can you be doing while we're in this period. What proactively can you be doing? And he's working on that. He's working on it last night, and I'll have it today. And again, as soon as I get it, I like to put an eye on it and then push it out company wide. So look for that in your email coming up yet today. Myers we'll call it Myers hit list there. And then in addition to that, the best ideas that we've been generating are coming from you. And so push back to us and your managers and your regional managers and me. I'm at Cavaness. Don't put a D in front of it. I'm just at Cavaness at callcarpenter.com. Some of your best ideas. And we'll look at that. We'll keep upgrading and updating the Myers hit list and that his people have put together. And I don't give Tom credit for that, because all of his managers and agents have been working to build these great ideas that they're implementing. So we're trying to develop the best practices, because I think this this period is going to go on for a few weeks. The beauty is, through the lobbying efforts of the Indiana Association of Realtors and Governor Holcomb's understanding of the importance of the real estate business, we're exempt, so we continue to do business. And in addition to that, our courier, somebody yesterday asked me, is the courier going to be able to run? And Greg is fearless. And so he's taking precautions in his own capsule, his car, and we are going to be running the courier, but running it a little differently. We are going to be calling ahead. Hopefully, the branch admins that are supporting each of our branches, many of them are working remote, which is perfectly fine with us. And we've equipped them. If they didn't have computers, we've equipped them with computers. And we have 3 people in the company that didn't have Wi-Fi. That's fine. And we're making arrangements to make sure they can have Wi-Fi access certainly during this period. He's going to be calling ahead and seeing, hey, is there a reason for me to stop? If there's not a reason for him to stop, there's no need for him to pull in to go through the security system and do that. He's simply going to call ahead. And so we need to make sure that our admins are aware of, hey, I've got something to pick up. So if you're leaving an earnest money check or a commission check or something like that, reach back out to your admin. If they're offsite, if they're remote, give them a call, let them know, hey, I've got something in the courier for Greg. And so when Greg reaches back to them the next day or that afternoon, they'll say, yeah, there is something at the office for you, Greg. Let's get in there and get that. So we're going to keep our earnest money checks moving. We're going to keep our commission checks moving. And that's real important. I'm just looking at some of my notes. The closings and commission checks. Shelley is working every day. She's working remote from home in the mornings, and then in the early afternoon, she's going into the office, running the checks, and then making those available. If you are asking to come by and pick one up, talking to John Asbury yesterday, he said, we're still allowing that, but we don't want you to come into the South Admin building. When you come into that door right there, there's kind of a box there, and they'll have your checks. Now, if you say you're going to pick it up and you don't show up, they're not going to leave the check sitting there. So you need to make sure you're communicating. Excuse me, communicating with John and Shelley and everybody. Yes, I'm going to make it. I'm going to pick up my check, or I wasn't able to make it. Can you leave it out for me the next afternoon? And we're leaving those checks out from 2 o'clock. I believe John said 2 o'clock on to 5 o'clock. So a little window we can still accommodate, or just transfer it through the courier. So that's working. Michelle's working, Josh is working, John's there every day. So things like that are really moving well. I was talking to Jim Newell yesterday. Our marketing department is functioning without interruption. Jim is working partially remote, partially from home. He reminded me that, David, that we've got a fully digital platform. That's what we've built over these years, made the investments. Everything we do is through Google. Digital platform, our systems and tools are all operating. I mean, just remind you, I mean, we built a program that's ready for this. We've got Boost on our listings, and what a great time to reboost. If you got a listing out there, reboost that listing. Just go ahead and get back in the system and reboost it. Virtual tours on every listing. TV showcase of homes is continuing to run, and people are watching it by the gazillions, because they got nothing else to do on a Sunday morning. So let's get your listings, put them back in, get them back in for TV showcase. Home Tour 360, that's we've always had 3 or 4 a week being added to that. And Jim said there's a real surge. So let's, get in line, get in the queue for that. But remind your seller, it may be under these conditions, it may be a few days or a week or so before the videographer or the computer operator can get in there and do the Home Tour 360. Social media with our Paradigm Reach program, Reach Social, the timing of that is fantastic. If you're not engaged in that, making sure that's up and running for you, you're missing the boat. If you haven't, get to Jim or get to the marketing department, get online and figure out there's a number to call. Go ahead and get engaged right now. What a great time to spend 20 or 30 minutes of your time and get set up on the Reach Social program from Paradigm. because the people on the other end, that's all they're doing all day long. Most people are quarantined at home. And don't forget, we are continuing to publish ads that you submit in 17 magazines out there, and that's frankly, it's just fantastic system out there. Now, for those of you who are part of MyBore, MyBore has taken an action, and I've got it written out here, and I want to make sure I get it exactly here. They have, I want to get it exact. This has been sent to everybody who's a member of MyBore, and this is action of the board of directors to help us. This is to best respond to the needs of our buyers and sellers in this circumstance. They have suspended the existing temporary off-market, the TOM they call it, rules. The temporary off-market rules have been suspended. I want to read this, and this is right from the statement from MyBore. You should have received this, so go back into your emails and look for it. Showings include either of the following. This is a physical on-site viewing of the listed property by potential buyers with a cooperating broker. So it's a traditional showing, physical showing, or virtual showings, which could mean a live FaceTime video of the property. There's some exciting things let me say, there's exciting things happening there. Debbie Cox was sharing that she had a buyer. The buyers stayed in the car. The sellers, Debbie showed the seller how to set up a FaceTime and guided them through the entire house, room by room, and with FaceTime, so they could ask questions. Tell me more about that. Tell me about this. Fantastic, very creative, Debbie. And as a result of that one personal virtual tour conducted by the seller in cooperation with Debbie, because Debbie didn't go in the house either, these people got excited. They were a little connected with the seller, so they liked the seller, and so they ended up writing an offer. And they were, as of yesterday, they were negotiating. Get hung up a little on the price, duh. And so they were working through that. Very exciting that she found a way to show a property using FaceTime. It was just fantastic. So back to a live FaceTime of the video of the property by the listing agent, or even the seller, or a pre-recorded video, or virtual tour, or even I would suspect our Home Tour 360 would allow. It's a fantastic virtual tour opportunity where you can go through the rooms, look at the floors, look at the appliances close up. Fantastic home tour, during which the listing broker or agent is available to answer any questions. And that's a critical thing, that if we're going to use virtual, you still have to inject yourself, either as a listing agent or certainly the buying agent, into that process, so that you're there and you can say, hey, you guys are excited, let's move forward and make something happen here, because I'm an essential service and I've got the tools to facilitate us putting this deal together, and nobody has to actually get face-to-face, nose-to-nose. Really exciting opportunities there that a cooperating broker may have about the property. So they got to be available if we're going to use the virtual tour for the showings. Now, they go on to say, if your seller is willing to allow virtual showings only, you need not update your listing in any way. You don't need to fill out any additional forms. If you're using a showing service, and obviously we use Showing Time, you should reflect that only virtual showings will be allowed. You can go in there with them, and when somebody goes to set a showing, I'm sorry, only virtual showings, and make sure you give them the directions to access the virtual showing. If your seller would rather discontinue showings entirely during this time, and obviously if that's where they feel safest, we are prepared to accommodate that, and MyBore is as well. But you're a salesperson, and your job is to sell them on doing what's best for them. Now, if they're so concerned that they're almost paralyzed, we'll accommodate. But if they need to get their home sold, we can get homes sold. We're not only can we are getting homes sold during this period, and you need to share that with them, that they're not alone out there. We've got hundreds and hundreds of people, but shoot, we sold $7 million worth of houses across central Indiana. We pended those just the other day. And I mean, I was absolutely thrilled. So if your seller would rather discontinue showings entirely during this time, MIBOR BLC will allow let me read this, will allow the second option. And this is beginning March 23rd. So that was 2 days ago. The requirement that listings with an active status must be available for showings, listen to this, will be temporarily suspended. If your seller elects, this is what it says, elects this option, days on the market will continue to count, understand that, and the listing will continue to be distributed through the IDX and other internet sites as directed. Now that's different now. So before, if you pulled it off, so to speak, then that stopped and the IDX stopped. We need to continue the exposure through this period for our clients, for our sellers, and our buyers want to see the properties. So MIBOR is going to continue to push it out to IDX, Zillow, and all of those things, and callcarpenter.com. All those listings, even though the showings have been suspended, they are going to continue to get exposure through our system. That was a critical element. We lobbied for that with the board, and they came through for us, and we appreciated that. So they're going to continue to be pushed out on the internet. If your sellers choose not to show their property in any way, but keep the listing as active during this time, MIBOR requires 3 disclosures. And this is really important as well, because we have to comply with these new temporary rules. Disclose this decision in the property description field of BLC. You have to state that in the field, in the property description, that your sellers choose not to show their property in any way, but keep the listing as active during this time. You have to put that in, they've decided to do this. Number 2, you have to upload the fully executed temporary suspension of showings form to the managed supplements menu under modify listings in the BLC. I don't deal in that every day. Hope you do. You all gotten this. I'm just reiterating it to you in case you haven't seen it. 40% of you don't open your emails. 40% of you aren't even bothering to watch this. That's okay. Update available, and then you have to update available for showings, yes and no field. So obviously available for showings. If you're doing this, it's no. We want to push back, but not too hard. To no in the BLC, and that's new. And so you've got to do those 3 things. What are they? Disclose the decision in the property description, upload the fully executed temporary suspension of showings form. They've got to execute that, and you can go get that at MIBOR, and then update the available for showing yes or no field, and you have to hit no. No showings, I remind you, for us, I mean, we always play by the rules. No showings means no showings. Don't want to get into a situation, especially during these challenging times, that isn't going to look good to that panel sitting across the table. Well, they really needed to see it. No. No showings means no showings for them and for us. And that's all in effect would be at the MIBOR BLC until further notice. Don't have any information here this morning about the Indiana Regional MLS that Bloomington and Bedford are a part of, and some others are you a part of that as well. And so I just wanted to make sure we cover that with you this morning. Just to kind of wrap up, first of all, everybody realizes these are challenging times. We've been quarantined now. This is our 2nd full day, and some of you are already going bonkers. The beauty again is we're an essential service industry, and the governor understands the impact that real estate, mortgage lending, title business, inspectors, appraisers, everybody has on the economy. So he's encouraged, he's allowing us to get out and continue to operate. And Carpenter Realtors is on a digital platform. Can you imagine SkySlope? Our digital marketing, our marketing department's open, our accounting department's opening. Greg is running a different schedule, but he's running. Challenging times. Let me take you back to our vision statement, 3 key words, and just see how this all comes together and works for us. Connections. we're all connected. I'm hopefully connecting with some of you here this morning with this little message, but we're all connected. We're in this together. We're connected to our families. We're connected to our clients, our buyers and sellers, and our spheres of influence. And you owe it to them to get connected right now, this morning, all afternoon. Get out there, get out of your pajamas, get in your uniform, and get out there and start working. Get those connections just humming. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm excited about this. First of all, the amount of business we're able to do under these conditions is just phenomenal, and I just can't tell you how pleased I am and how proud I am of what we're doing compared to some of the other brokerage firms that are virtually closed. I mean, they're not doing anything. So get out there and get those connections humming, because on the other side of this, a few weeks from now, this market's just going to pop, and Carpenter is going to be ahead of that curve, and we're going to see a continuation of a fantastic year. Number two, commitment. I want to share with you that we've shared with all of our employees. We're all in this together. All of our people, our staff that's gone home and working remote, they're on the payroll. They're continuing to meet their financial needs of their family, and will continue to be so. We will stay open. We will be in business until the government tells us we can't, and we hope we don't. We hope we don't get there. So we're committed to you. We're committed to all of our employees, and we're committed to our buyers and sellers. We've got sellers that need to sell. We got buyers today that need to get into a house, and we're here to deliver for them and get it closed. And again, it's kind of exciting. We're a community, and at Carpenter we are. Your branches are, and so stay connected to that community and be a part of it, and share within that community what's working for you out there. What are you seeing that's working? And we're going to be sharing that information every day, multiple times a day with you. So stay close to your emails, because we're going to be pushing them out. Take the time, open them, and read them, and think, hey, that's a good idea. I think I'll implement it right now. Keywords: connections, commitment, community. That's Carpenter. That's who this organization is, and you helped us discover that here just a few months ago. Word: be engaged. Get out there and do something. Get out of the pajamas. Turn the TV off. Get on your screen like this, and start reaching out to everybody you know. And be informed. Be careful. Source the information you get, but be informed about what's happening in our industry and in your local board while we're going on here. And so if we learn something different, we're going to reach out and continue to communicate, but be informed. And the most important thing for all of us, for you and your family, for everybody in the Carpenter community, is to be safe. Take the precautions. I'm here at home. I'm quarantined. I'll be out a little bit, but I'm being very, very careful. We're sanitizing regularly. It's just Ann and I are the only two here. She's not trusting me, and I'm not trusting her. You never know where those people have been, and so we're sanitizing all of our surfaces regularly, and we're staying quarantined on an ongoing basis here. I just want to say thanks for the tremendous support that everybody at Carpenter has shared with the whole Carpenter family, the whole Carpenter community. We're in business. We're open for business. We're engaged. We're informed. Be safe. Thanks.